I'll while you're watching the monitors for the streams, I'll keep letting people in.
Cool. Cool. All right. It looks like we should be live. Just verify that. I'll get the recording started. And that officially kicks us off. Welcome, everybody, to the BeatCancer.Org Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call. It is the 26th of June. We're here with a nice small group, and we're going to get off to it. Quick announcements. Nothing that is said on this stream is intended to be taken as explicit medical advice. Your health is your responsibility. Do make sure that you consult with the appropriate professionals when needed before making decisions about your health. Do your own research, educate yourself, and be empowered. Other than that, reminder, we are on the Zoom itself. If anyone wants to join us, you can go to BeatCancer.org and click on the weekly call button right at the top. And we are also streaming on social media platforms. If you're watching on one of the social media platforms, you can comment your comment or question there, and we will get to it as soon as we can. So with that, I'm Zachariah, COO of Beat Cancer. I'm going to turn it over to Carl, the CEO of Beat Cancer, and I'm going to go address some technical stuff. Looks like we have to renew our Facebook permissions to continue our stream. So over to you, Carl. I'm going to go get that sorted.
Okay, so if you don't already know it, we are Beat Cancer. We're a 48-year-old nonprofit. We've been helping people holistically with their cancer issues for 48 years, and we can always use your help to get the word out there so that people can come and get help. And this is a great place, the Thursday night call. Got a couple of coaches on, a couple of great commentators like Harmonious Monday, and some friends that I recognize. So pretty exciting. I have a question in the chat about finding the hand function on the Zoom app on the phone. So I'd have to actually take a moment and off camera. So let me wait until Zach gets back and I'll take a look on my Zoom app for you, Dave.
Got it. It looks like we are live on Facebook successfully again. So you can go ahead and do that.
And if we haven't mentioned it, while others are talking, please keep your mics on mute. Um, we were asking to raise the hand using the raise the hand function if you have questions so we can address them in order. And I will look real quickly as Zach takes. Are you ready to take over for a second, Zach?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna just look for that function and put it in the chat. I'll be off camera.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And of course, we know people can have technological difficulties sometimes, so a good old-fashioned raising of your hand does, get our attention. You only have to do it once. I promise you, we'll probably see it, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. Welcome in, coaches. We have three holistic cancer coaches on with us tonight: Catherine Jansen, Marinette Smith, Maya Samand. Thank you very much for being here. Um, we have, yep, cool. Our group is filling in here. So that said, I'll open the mic for anyone. If anyone has any questions or comments or topics of discussion that they would like to cover here as we get going. And nobody does, or let's see the chat. What does the chat say? Nope, the chat's just talking about that. All right, Dave, it looks like he has a question in the chat. So why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself, Dave, and you can go ahead and ask.
Okay, there we go. Um, yeah, I a couple weeks ago, I for some funny reason, I just kind of forgot about the show, and I got connected about 10 minutes before it ended. And so I didn't want to bring the subject up at the time, but you were talking about coffee creamers, and I thought, oh no, that's one of the top things I wanted to talk to you guys about. They probably covered everything. And then Carl was nice enough to respond. He said, no, actually, the only thing we talked about was coffee creamers. And I thought, great. So speaking of wormholes or rabbit holes or whatever, Carl, I was wondering if anybody knew or had any definitive information on coffee. My understanding from what I've read and everything I've heard is that coffee is kind of like eggs. You should eat them, you shouldn't eat them, you should drink it, you shouldn't drink it for whatever reasons. I don't know if there's any definitive information or where we're really at with coffee today. I know Dr. Living Good says it's a superfood. I've read that many times. I only know that when I was growing up, I'm sure some of you guys remember this. They would list all the things that were wrong with coffee. There were always at least 8, and it was bad, 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 bad. There was never anything good about drinking coffee. Now we seem to have gone to the opposite extreme, and everything's good about it. And all of a sudden, all these bad things supposedly just disappear, and nobody says anything bad about it. So I'm just wondering if anybody can give me any general thoughts on coffee in terms of diet related to someone who has cancer. Good, bad, indifferent. Do we know anything? What do we know?
Well,
that's it.
Dave, if you wanna really go down the rabbit hole, it's a good idea to use coffee going in the other end.
Yeah, but that's what I heard. Someone said that that's very dangerous. I can't remember who it was yesterday. It's supposed to be an expert on it.
Not dangerous at all. It- decades of research on that. It's well, it would be dangerous if it was hot.
Yeah, I know about that.
You might
Diacetyl, right?
wanna let it cool down a little bit first,
Yep,
but
yep. I drank it out of the fridge. Cold coffee, iced coffee.
yeah, I probably wouldn't do it iced coffee that way either. But yeah,
Okay.
room temperature is fine.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So, great question on coffee, a very popular question as well. A lot of people very much enjoy their coffee, myself included. So, let's open that up to the coaches and hear anyone's thoughts on coffee in regards to a cancer patient. No? Nobody has any thoughts? Sure, go ahead, Annette.
So, just in regards, I kind of missed the question, but in regards to just coffee in general, and we've talked about this quite a bit before in the past, but just making sure that the quality of the coffee that you're getting and drinking is a high quality. There are very many coffee and coffee companies out there that use quite a few different chemicals when they're processing the coffee itself. If you are using, coffee, just by drinking it, well, I guess even coffee enema, making sure that it is organic. And yes, so you do have to be careful too, because coffee consumption can do different things depending on different types of cancers as well. If you haven't had cancer, it can be beneficial for, like liver cleanses and cleaning your liver and detoxing the liver. But making sure that it is something that is safe for you to consume when you have active cancer or if you've had cancer before.
Thank you.
I'll add something to that. Coffee is a stimulant. That's number one. Number two, you have to know that coffee can dehydrate you, and it's acidic. So, for every cup of coffee you drink, you have to add 4 cups of water to make sure. Yes, because it would dehydrate the body. And then when you add 4 cups of water, you have to understand that you have to add electrolytes to that, because you don't want to flash out electrolytes by adding extra 4 cups of water to that. That's why in Europe, like in the places that traditional drink coffee, they would always serve a cup of water with coffee. Yeah, in England, for example, that's what they do. So, and choices, of course, are yours, like how much coffee to drink, what kind of coffee to drink. Coffee also are prone to grow mold. That's another thing about coffee. So you have to be cautious where you're getting your coffee from. A lot of coffee nowadays, they're GMO coffees, genetically modified coffees. So you have to make sure it's organic, it's coming from reliable sources, and plus it tested for mold. Those are the things you have to check it out. So for me, it's too complicated. I choose not to drink coffee at all.
I was just going to ask you, which brand would you recommend?
I I don't drink coffee at all. If I go, I always check it like organic and third party tested for mold. The mold free tested. Yeah, that's the one I would choose.
And there's definitely some low acid options too.
Yeah, you can add pinch of like a baking soda to your coffee to kind of lower the acidity level. But
Yeah. There's also differences in preparation. Drinking
yeah.
a cold brew, which is my preferred way to brew the coffee, is known to be less acidic by a large degree. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different variables. Of course, most people when they say they're drinking coffee, they're not drinking coffee. They're drinking some coffee with a whole bunch of other additives in it. Hence our discussion a few weeks ago when our guest, showed us the creamer that she was adding, and that had a bunch of, nasty ingredients in it. And so, that's a big important, factor right there. When you say coffee, are you referring to just coffee beans and water, or are you referring to coffee beans and water and this sugar and that additive and this sweetener, etc. Because now that's not even coffee. That's a coffee drink. That's a coffee mix. So that's an important part of the discussion. But yeah, over to Harmony.
Harmony. Yeah. Harmony, you got the mic.
Got it. Thank you. As usual, I'm going to follow up. Zach, I just have to say that so many things have to do with what are the details. Can we agree on what the details are? I'm drinking coffee. No, you're drinking milk with sugar and a tiny bit of coffee, and you're calling it coffee. So, as you know, so we always have to define exactly what we're talking about. But the one interesting thing that I wanted to mention, then people, again, and this is such a contentious topic too. It's like vegans going at it with, just the topic of coffee can be a huge battle, which I'd rather not get into myself. I enjoy a reasonable amount of coffee. So quantity and quality matters in this topic. But I just wanted to mention the light roast versus medium versus, what is the heavy roast, or what do they call it? Dark roast, acrylamides. So, and that's just one little nuance about coffee in general. We can talk about it all day about quantity and quality, but people don't realize that the lighter roast is going to have less acrylamide in it. And we're concerned about acrylamide. I believe there's a direct cancer connection with acrylamide, if I'm not mistaken. So just wanted to throw in those thoughts.
Awesome. Thank you. Over to Catherine.
Thank you very much, Zach. I can honestly say that I prefer not to drink coffee, and I occasionally will have a cup, like when I'm at conferences or something like that, when everyone else is drinking. But otherwise, I pretty well stick to green tea. Why? Only because those catechins that are in that tea, and it's nice to know that it's got a few the little things we need, some of those antioxidants, and I think there are so many benefits to green tea that I and also it has caffeine in it, so if you're not going to really miss that kick from the coffee. And I use Uncle Tom's green tea, but I think if someone wants to take a look at trying out tea, now is the time if you want to try and get off the habit of coffee. Just my comment.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of people just enjoy having a nice drink that isn't water. Obviously water is great and you should learn to love drinking water, but sometimes, it's a bit of a ritual aspect to it. Or, you just having a nice, maybe warm, if you prefer it warm, cup of something in the morning is or throughout the day is something that, is comforting or soothing or just energizing the breakup, the work day, or whatever day you have. And so, you don't necessarily have to go from coffee to nothing. Switching out for something else like a tea, is wonderful. And I saw Carl did put in the chat a recommendation of Dr. Lee's green tea. Dr. Lee being Dr. Lee's green tea being a longtime partner of Beat Cancer. So Carl, do we have a link to information about him? I think.
I'll put in a link in a second, but I just want to say that we're a partner second. We were a recommender first. And it's because he actually fought and won the FDA lawsuit, proving that they have the amount of EGCG in it that it claims on labeling, which is more than you can get in any other tea, and no other tea can actually claim it. And it's got a lot to do with how it's not only how it's grown, but how it's harvested. It's handpicked. So it's an excellent tea. I will put a link in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Catherine, is that the same hand from before, or is that a new hand? Oh,
Probably up from before.
got it. Cool. Great question, Dave. Any other follow-up or additional questions on coffee? I'm gonna check the chats here on Facebook to see if anyone has any questions there as well. Cool. Oh, is that a hand from Ron? Go ahead, Ron.
Sorry, just a quick question. Uh, I've been buying EGCG, not this Dr. Lee's. Number one, is that organic? And number two, is that just tea to brew tea, or they're selling capsules of the EGCG?
Yes, it is organic, and no, it's not sold in capsules. It is sold in bags, not tea bags. It's loose tea, and it's in air sealed bags, and yeah.
Can you
Excellent.
can't get the same level of concentration from that as you can from buying the EGCG tablets, can you?
Possibly not, but we trust the source of where it's coming from, how it's harvested, and how it's grown.
Is
We don't know. We don't have intimate knowledge of every different capsule.
um,
And Dr. Lee, he's quite the scientist. I mean, when you start to look him up and find out all about him, he's quite the wealth of knowledge.
Is your feeling actual tea versus the capsules might be more efficacious then?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you're getting it in a natural form. Um, and like I said, it's all about trusting the source and the methodologies of cultivation.
Thank you.
Looks like Maya might have a comment on that.
Yeah, the difference between tea and tea and capsules. The capsules are isolated ECGC only. The tea is basically a tea entire herb. So it contains like ECGC, like green tea, do have L-theanine in it, for example, and other like polyphenols. So that's the difference between capsules and the tea.
But the tea that he sells, that's not decaffeinated though, correct?
No, it's not.
It's
It's
not.
not decaffeinated.
Yep,
You can use both, but for example, ECGC, I believe so you can take, it's not gonna to give you caffeine spike, but tea itself, it's if you're using it, it's better to use earlier in the day. Like for me, for example, when I use matcha tea, if I use past 2 o'clock, I won't be able to fall asleep. I have to use it earlier than 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. And for anyone that's curious where you can go about getting the tea, the Dr. Lee's green tea that we are mentioning, I'll just show you real quick, make it easy. If you find your way over to our website, BeatCancer.org, head on over to our e-store, head on to the resources and store tab, and click on tea right there. Get a simple bag of tea. We got a couple sets as well. Get a nice decorative
yeah.
set.
The seepers definitely have a something to do with the quality that you're going to get out of it. Those steepers are airtight.
Nice.
And that's part of the process. But if you're just going to have the tea and put it into a strainer and steep it,
There you go.
and then you can pick how many bags you want. Also, too, Zach, go back to the regular website and go up into the search area, and if you just put search in there, green tea, we have different articles on the green tea, Dr. Lee's green tea, and green tea in general.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I think the search section of our website is very underutilized. A lot of different topics we cover in our blogs and different areas of our website. You go and search up all sorts of topics there, and it'll bring you something.
Yeah, while we're there, we can just, I mean, we have well over 400 blog articles, not including all of our YouTubes, but we also have almost 500 now. So it's definitely over 400 testimonials and letters of appreciation, dating all the way back into the early or the late 1970s. So we actually have the handwritten version on them now, and they've been typed out so that search engines can find them.
Yep, all sorts of good stuff on there. So if
Thank
you
you.
are an individual that has been helped by Beat Cancer, of course, we'd love if you were to submit your testimonial to us so we can share it and encourage others to get the help that they need as well. I see a hand up from Harmony.
Hey, thanks. Question for holistic cancer coaches. How often do you collaborate and kind of think tank among each other? Because I can imagine, I know there's hundreds of you, not everyone shows up, of course, but there's hundreds of you out there, and someone comes to you with a problem. You know, with all of this brain, I call it a brain trust. I see your hand, I see your hand up, Catherine, for sure. Because to me, the power of what you guys do should never, well, I shouldn't say it that way, should never be not everyone can know everything about every cancer and every person. Do you talk among each other to gain that valuable information and share it back to the coach who's dealing with someone who the other coach happens to know, and you guys know that through your internal networking? Am I
Yeah.
saying that right? Am I
Yeah,
saying that right?
totally understand it. Before we get to Catherine, I do want to say we do have a private coaches only Telegram chat group where coaches collaborate and ask each other questions and elevate their education, and a few of them collaborate with each other quite often, just offline, and do things together. So I'll let Catherine take over from here.
Thank you very much, Carl. I have been collaborating mostly with Catherine White, who is also one of our holistic cancer coaches at BeatCancer.org. And both of us actually even live in the same town in Ontario. And we actually do a lot of conferences together, and we trade out some of our trade secrets, and we actually go and do presentations together as well. And when I have, like she has abdominal cancer, I'm breast cancer. So I will often, if I find I have a patient who's, I feel is quite complex, like stage 3, stage 4 cancer, I know that she's probably the better coach to have because that is her specialty and that's what she has been experiencing. So I often will actually even give her my patient. And she will refer some of her stage 3, stage 4 breast cancer patients over to me. And so we actually support each other, and not only in our practice, but we also talk a lot about what's new and what's going on and some of the trends that are going on in Canada and comparing them to what's going on in the US as well. So it's kind of nice if the cancer coaches, if you have someone that's close to you, that's in the town, and maybe that's something you can look up on the net, who else in your town or close to you is a cancer coach, and take that time to establish that bond with them. But I've also been lucky because I know with Maya, and I often will chat occasionally with her if there's a question I have, and she's been wonderful with getting back with me. So the cancer coaches online do support each other, Carl, just so that you know.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Catherine. Over to Maya.
I know we communicate through Telegram and other Facebook private Facebook groups, and for example, Deb and I are also part of another coaching group, which is a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioners. So we have about 300 people there. We constantly communicate, and Deb, me, and Annette, we start our podcast, which we communicate a lot on the subject, what we're going to talk about, what we would like to deliver to people almost every single day. We talked on the different things, and we make a plan, and we brainstorm, and we share the videos, articles, everything that we come across with each other, and we post them on Telegram group too if there's something interesting, and the coaches need like kind of pay attention to something, interesting. So yeah, we always in contact and talk, and we have met in person. I'm planning on meeting in person again. So there's a lot. There's a lot we do behind the scenery. Let's say it this way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maya. Over to Annette with her hand up.
I just had to unmute myself. So I kind of think of it this way. We're better together than we are separate. And so each of us have very different backgrounds. Some of them have similarities, but we have different backgrounds. We have different specialties that we've worked in. Some of us are past healthcare workers. Some of us have nutrition backgrounds. And some other people have other life experiences that we could benefit from. And so we're constantly working together. I like to think of this as like my family. Like I think of the Beat Cancer as like my family. And so we really do try to do as much as we can together to be able to help benefit those that we are serving the best. Because again, we're better together than we are separate. And so what one person might have an answer to, they might not have an answer to the other thing, but we can always say to others, let me find out for you. I don't know for sure on that, but I know somebody who might. And so I can ask and I can, consult with somebody else and see if we can find the answer for you. So I think that's the one great thing about us is we're together as a group as much as we can. We share information, education, try to help each other out as much as possible. If somebody comes up against something, then we try to, work through it together. Or if somebody notices that they've done something that's, been extremely beneficial, we share that too. So really, it's just about doing what's best for those that we're serving, and we try to do that together as a team.
And if I could just finish it by saying that is what I hope you would say. And Carl, knowing that you guys have an actual dedicated forum is massively impressive to me. But it means that someone coming to you as a potential client knows that they're working with not just you. You're going to do what you need to do to talk to your network and get the best answer. What a great way to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
It's a huge benefit of working with any one of our coaches. You don't have one, you have many. And also too, they have access to Dr. Randy Shane, who's been our counselor for BeatCancer, naturopathic doctor for the past 25 years or so. And she does all of our counseling for us on internally.
Yeah. And then we do, anything that we can beyond even our community of coaches. And that if a coach comes to us and they need something, then Carl and I will use, the connections and network and people that we've met over the years to make sure that that coach and that end client gets what they need, So perhaps a coach will collaborate with just a different organization or a different doctor that we know. I know we've had coaches of ours call up different just doctors all over the world that we've met and brought around to the Beat Cancer community for assistance and help with their clients. So yeah, it doesn't even just stop at the Beat Cancer coach Rolodex.
Absolutely. Like
we have
Dr. Zubin Marolia had worked with Catherine and Maya with their patients in mistletoe therapy. And then Catherine's also worked with John Malanka on cannabis treatment therapies. So yeah, excellent point, Zach.
absolutely. Was there a hand up from Catherine previously? I thought I saw it.
I think what has been interesting, especially I just was chatting with Dr. Mariola 2 nights ago. I was, for some
Yeah.
reason, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and here he is out on a mountain hiking on vacation. And he said, "What are you doing up?" And that man has been wonderful, and I he has been really good with not only offering support to the coaches on on all everything he does as far as mistletoe, but he was talking to me about uric acid buildup and arthritis and pain that you get in your extremities, because these are some of the things that I've been experiencing myself. And so he really has been really good in helping each of us as we have little issues ourselves. And I really appreciate that he's always there and seems to pop up and can answer our questions. And another thing that I do is I have a direct path with a naturopath and a homeopath in my hometown. And I spend a lot of time working with them as well. And I do speeches at their clinics, as well as just try to keep on top of what kind of things that they're advocating. And it really helps to build a community and that interrelationship. Because I really feel often that we have that tendency to there's conventional medicine and there's holistic, and we often don't integrate with other modalities. And I think it's something that we need to be really crucially aware of and try to get that networking experience going. And going to the cancer conferences is a great opportunity to get that networking going.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Great addition, Catherine. And great question.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. One of the things that we have done over the past couple of years is we've been inviting the coaches to conferences that Zach and I are attending, like the Annie Appleseed conference, and literally introducing them to everybody that's in our Rolodex. Everybody that we know there, we introduce them to, and uh, uh, all the doctors that are there presenting, and so it's not only a great time, it's a great networking opportunity for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw we had a couple new friends join us while we had our discussion going. So welcome into everybody. As a reminder, this is an open forum community discussion and chat and question and answer session. So please, at a moment, and in a moment of silence, please do feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself, and or put a question in the chat. I will be glad to address whatever it is that you'd like to talk about as we can. So with that, I'll announce that the mic is open if anyone has any other topics they would like to cover tonight. And if not, I'll just call on people.
I have a crazy thing that I just saw
Sure.
that not only cancer but other diseases as well. They're being able to diagnose from earwax. Has anybody heard about that yet? Maya, go. You have the mic.
Oh gosh, I did, but I thought that you're gonna go with it. I heard that more earwax in the ear, it's actually a not good thing. It depends what kind of ear, and it depends what kind of wax, because if people consume seed oils, that's mean they have elevated omega-6 oils in their body. And if so there's a correlation between seed oils and earwax, apparently, that correlated with a heart condition. So I don't know if that's the same thing you're talking about or not, but that's what I've heard. And I read the article, but did not dive into that yet. So
Yeah, I was hearing actually specific types of cancer they can detect, but I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things you hear it, and I'm bringing it up because I don't know.
yeah, something needs to be looked into that, because our body is a fascinating thing. And we know it would give you sign and signals from whatever the, parts it could give you. Yeah, I would look into that definitely.
Yeah, it's amazing. I haven't looked into that specific topic, but our body has a lot of mechanisms for indicating to us different things. And of course, like any other bodily secretion, ear wax or ear buildup can range in quality and makeup, and what's going on in our body. I mean, maybe can be read by that secretion. So. I mean, it makes sense to me. I certainly wouldn't doubt it. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. So cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Carl. Let's see. We got a question from Amy. I see you're on the call. Would you like to go ahead and unmute yourself and elaborate on your question there?
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Hey, I'm curious on if anyone ever deals with parasites as in my own situation, but even overall with people. I am extremely underweight. I mean, I hit 90 pounds maybe. I'm 5'4", petite, and I have a pot belly. And they thought I might have had cancer, and there's still, question marks. But I have little bug bites on me, and they show up at the full moon. And I know I have parasites, and I'm a clean eater. And I'm wondering, could cancer, quote, cancer even be a parasitic problem? Or could parasites add to that type of thing? Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a topic that comes up a lot in the cancer space, the relation of parasites and cancer. There are some people that say all cancer is parasites. There are some people that say that they have nothing to do with each other. There's people out there that don't even think parasites exist in the first world. So, I'll give my thoughts on it in that, we have to remember that cancer isn't really just one thing. Cancer is a word that gets used to describe a phenomena of mutation in our cells, but that can be brought about by a large variety of contributing factors. So, again, I'm speaking as myself. Could parasites contribute or, perhaps even cause cancer in certain circumstances? Perhaps. Does that mean it's related in all cancer circumstances? I think that would be a naive stance as well. So I think sometimes, and it depends, are probably the safest and most accurate answers, but that's just myself. I'm going to open the floor to any coaches or anyone else that has thoughts.
And I want to make one comment too, is I was in the hospital twice for 2 unexpected surgeries, and I had to do it. And they put me on a lot of antibiotics. And that's when I noticed when I was in the hospital a week each time, I itched and I itched and I itched, and it was full moons both times. And I just had a rash all over my gallbladder and liver. So I knew I had parasites. But I thought, is it because of all those antibiotics I was on? And I've tried to remedy that. I've been really, pounding really good bacteria and things in my body. But man, I want to look normal. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you for the question. Open to responses. I see a hand from Catherine. Thank you.
The only thing I really know a lot about when it comes to having issues with stuff like that is I found that chronic inflammation is an issue for people who have parasites. Also, the effect on the liver, especially the bile duct, is quite sensitive to parasites, and so you might find that there you may have increased issues digestion wise. But sometimes parasites can be advantageous to us because some of them actually share the parasite with the antigen of the cancer cell and can actually have a anti-cancer effect. So it depends on what kind of parasite it is. And some of them are more dangerous than others, and some of them are symbiotic in nature. So that's something we have to look at. So if you think you have a parasite, have it investigated, and then do some research on it. Do not be afraid to to ask, and you can even go to any hospital or any library, and the librarian will often get you information on those topics alone, like what kind of what kind of parasite it is, and then whether it's cancer causing or if it's actually symbiotic in nature. So there's a lot of ways to be able to access information so that you are getting good information, not stuff just from Google.
Right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Catherine. Over to Maya.
I think Annette was first one who raised
Oh,
her
was she?
hand. It's like, yeah.
Over to you, Annette, then whoever wants to go.
Oh, Maya, I was hoping you're just going to be able to cover it because I have a feeling we're going to cover some of the same thing. So like Zach said, there's many different factors that contributed to developing cancer, and it really is your body giving it a warning sign saying, here's something going on, and it's trying to protect you, if there's cancer developing, that tumor developing. And so you really need to look at the whole system and see what's really going on. Can there be microorganisms that do influence? Possibly. There could be a potential probability of it. And there are studies that are finding that direction of cancer development. One book that is extremely good about touching on that, and it does have extensive research in it that I do advise people to, or suggest for people to read, is Mark Lintern's Cancer Resolution. And that way you can actually go through and read a lot of the studies and then kind of compare how the studies look towards each other. But really, it's just doing your own research and finding out if that is something that is a possibility for you. Especially like if you do have animals and pets around, that's a really good indicator that you should actually maybe look down that path. But again, there could be so many different influential factors into developing cancer. It's almost like a perfect storm that has to happen for it to occur. And when you think about all the things that we're influenced by every single day, it kind of makes sense when something would develop like that. We have so many toxins that we're exposed to, the food that we drink. Our stress level is unbelievably high, especially in our culture, in our society today. It's probably been the highest it's really ever been, is what a lot of studies are saying. And that's a huge contributing factor too. So yes, could there be possible parasites or another organism? Potentially. But it's also good to look at the whole person. That's one of the reasons that I went into holistic cancer coaching is because it's mind, body, and spirit. It's the whole person. And so you really just need to take a look at the whole picture.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Annette. Over to Maya now.
Yeah. I agree with everyone, the Catherine and Annette, what they were saying, that there's many different aspects when it comes to cancer. We cannot just blame parasite. But what I know about parasites, that is based on some doctors in the holistic or integrative world, they are talking about parasites settling under the mucosal lining of our body, especially in small intestine. So therefore, when in conventional medicine, when they do a stool test, very rarely there would be a detection of the parasite, but that doesn't mean they're not in the body. That's what I know. And do they link to cancer? There might be a great chance to that because they deplete the body of nutrients, and they might link that way. Do they link directly? It's under big question, even though some researchers do state that cancer does its own, parasite or its own microflora. But what kind of microflora, there's, still been under research. So, but when we take like animals in the farms, they actually do a parasite cleanse constantly on animals. It's like part of the routine thing. And the people who do have animals in their house, dogs and cats, what makes them think that they cannot get parasite from their animals? So, and we kind of have a similar body functioning with like farm animals. So we have to think about that. Why do they have constant parasite cleanse? And the humans cannot carry parasite. People who have a low digestive enzyme, not enzymes, the stomach acid, yes, they easily could hold to parasite, and the parasite could settle in their body. So I don't think so. It would be a bad idea doing a parasite cleanse every 6 months. Like, for example, I do that. Just a gentle parasite cleanse. I don't think so. It's going to be any harm. And of course, there's different type of parasites that it's out there. And looking into the parasite cleanse, just choosing the type of parasite cleanse that you can do, I think it would be a wise thing to do.
Thank you.
You're
You know,
welcome.
I'd like to add to that parasite cleanse. When you do the cleanse, you definitely want to do the coffee enemas. You probably, if you have parasites and you're going through a cleanse, as they die off or whatever happens to them inside, you're going to go through what's called Herxheimer's. It's just a reaction of them dying off and kind of getting into your system. So you definitely want to clean them out like that.
Yeah.
Ryan,
and then they lay eggs, and then you have to do it again, I think 2 weeks after the original cleanse, because the eggs, I forget the time, but the eggs come into play.
Right. And there's also that some people's skin could kind of link to the parasite intervention in their body. I have a client who had a stool test was his doctor, and it didn't detect any parasite, but I offered him to do a GI map. It came back was a parasite and lots of H. pylori, for example, because his skin, that I kind of knew from his skin that he might have it, and it came back positive. So there's a lot of things to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Ryan is next. Go ahead, Ryan.
So first of all, I'm kind of intrigued by all this. Very interesting and makes a lot of sense to me. Would you say, and I'm kind of directing this to Maya, this is something that you would need to go through with a practitioner, like you couldn't really do it on your own. You'd need some guidance for doing this. Would you advise that?
It would be probably better, but someone who knows. It would be
How many
probably
days, typically, how many days would this be?
It depends on the condition and the severity. Like, for example, when it comes to cancer, I know people to take antiparasitic until they have no evidence of disease, continuously until there's no evidence of disease. But it all depends again on each person.
And would this be, is this typically like a tablet or something, or how do you do that?
It depends. It depends what your doctor is going to tell you. Aggressiveness of there's a test that they can do, check on parasite, but people just go and do anti-parasite. I for example don't test myself. I just go ahead and do anti-parasite cleanse every 6 months, right? And I do it for a month, 30 days. That's for me just a prophylactic. But if there's a condition, certain conditions, I would guess like your doctor would tell you, how long. There's a couple of phases, for example, to go through phase 1, 2, and 3. You go through. So, but it all depends on condition and the doctor you're working with.
And are you eating like normal food while you're going through this, or what do you do food wise?
The food wise, the parasite also, it's hard, but parasite do love carbohydrates. So I limit carbohydrates completely from my diet. I take away carbohydrates completely.
Even like complex carbs from like vegetables and things like that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because complex carbs, they based on the carbohydrate, on the glucose molecules. So they're still converting your body. And that's the biggest reason why they ferment in our digestive system, in our colon, because they based on the carbohydrates.
So if you're getting rid of all carbohydrates, then what are you eating? Kind of a high protein type diet?
I would say no, moderate protein, a little higher fat intake. So that's what my diet is basically. Yeah. I'm more carnivore lean person. I'm leaning toward carnivore diet than any other. So, but again, everyone is different.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great questions, Ron. Back to Amy.
I muted you, Amy. There is some background noise.
Thank you. I really appreciate everybody and, good information. Just in my own journey, and, I'm a diehard. I've been for 30 years, I've dug into everything going on with me, but I was drinking wormwood, which that stuff is horrible when you make a tea of it. But I did notice it helped me a lot. I took a break this past week and I can already notice the reaction of my body's just like itchy more than it ever was. But drinking that wormwood tea, but I don't think you're supposed to do it constantly, but boy, it really helped. And the other thing I do is when I feel a sting on my body, I put clay on it, clay paste, and that really brings it to the surface, and it helps it come out, because I know it's disgusting. I'm a clean person. I really am, you guys. I don't eat junk food. I'm meticulous. I love what I eat. I eat really healthy. But the other thing I did, and excuse me for saying this because I don't want anyone to experiment without deep research. I researched it a lot. Was years ago I drank turpentine, a food grade turpentine. It's a one I bought in Georgia. Begins with G, but there's a way you drink it with a sugar cube, and it really, really helped a lot. But you have to really acclimate to learn how to do it responsibly. But it's not like, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But I learned it off of Dr. Jennifer Daniels, who learned about turpentine from the slaves, Black people back in their day. And she just was working in New York City and said, what did you guys do when, your ancestors didn't have money for health? And they said, oh, we drank turpentine, and we do it every season. And it kills all the everything. And she found that fascinating. So she researched it, and I found it in the old 1893 medical journal. And the doctors, when they carried their black bag, one of the things in the bag was turpentine. I had that article. I'd have to find it, but it was there. I thought that's interesting. So yeah, I might take it up again. It's diamond. Something diamond was the name of the turpentine. I might do that again.
Yeah, it's a great addition, Amy. Turpentine is actually on the official list that Google considers misinformation and harmful to talk about as any sort of health benefit. So it's amongst very good company and with some other very powerful tools. So I don't know much about turpentine myself, but that alone gives me a good feeling about it. So
I'm gonna grab my bottle right now.
While you're doing that, over to Maya. I see your hand up.
Yeah, I actually want to add a little bit more about parasites. Like, people have to, when they do parasite cleanse, they have to be a little bit cautious, because parasite, when they break down in the body, they would release byproducts, which are ammonia and other toxic compounds that could aggravate the liver, and side effects from it could be nausea, vomiting, like, headaches, fatigue, even fever. So it's very important how you take it. And, like Annette mentioned, binders. Binders is something that bind those toxic compounds by products, and helps the body to eliminate them. So that's another way of looking at. But of course, it's always like, whatever you do, it's always good to start from a low and go higher based on the tolerance. You cannot just jump up, because some people just, they go extreme dose. They think they're doing themselves a favor, but not actually. It's not the way to go. So and working with someone who truly knows, like, how to do parasite cleanse, because there's not only one type of parasite, and not only one anti-parasitic, let's say wormwood or turpentine. They're taking like complex anti-parasitic compounds. Works always better, like black walnut huile, artemisinin, whatever, like taking them as a binder together, and then take the binder with it to help, and milk thistle, for example, to help the liver to detox. That's another important part.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good addition. I see Amy put something in the chat.
And there it is, the bottle. But once again, everybody, you do your due diligence. I'm fearless. Nothing's killed me yet, and I really am that kind of soul. Is I have a little bit of daredevil in me. Like that which doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But I did a lot of research. I did this responsibly, and I wouldn't recommend anybody just did it and said, "No, I think I'll give it a try." No, do your homework and really think about it, because I don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Any powerful tool can be used responsibly or misused and abused, and that could be very dangerous. So we're not telling anyone to go drink turpentine or anything else. We're just exploring interesting information, right?
It's just a few drops, you guys. I'm not talking like you drink this thing. It's just like a few little tiny
Good.
drops. Okay. Now I'm like, oh no, I don't want to hear anybody say I did that. Now I'm in the hospital in the ER room. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel good about that.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Always it's funny you're talking about how it tastes nasty, and it makes me think of my favorite anti-parasite substance, which is also on the Google list, which is chlorine dioxide, and that
Oh
tastes
yeah.
god awful. That is so
That is-
bad. It's very, very bad taste. But hey, I guess if it tastes bad to you, it'll taste bad to the parasites, and maybe they'll leave. So who knows?
And then, one thing I learned as a massage therapist, pine oil that we use in massage therapy for pain relief is turpentine. So I was already kind of curious about that before I knew about it for drinking. And I thought that's really all pine is. It's pine needle, and that's what turpentine really is. This particular product, they harvest it, I think, on the north or south side of the tree in the springtime, I believe, and it has more potency. But at any rate, that's really all turpentine is, and anything you OD on could kill you. Salt could kill you. Baking soda could kill you. Anything that you OD on, and that's the same thing with turpentine. But it's not a food product, but I learned about it mostly through massage therapy. That's really what turned me on to pine.
That's
So
awesome.
that's it.
I see Harmony was on the same page I was. What too much water can kill you. And Carl put drowning, but not even that. You could just drink too much water and die. I've seen people make themselves very, very sick, overhydrating and washing themselves out. So yeah, too much of anything, even a very good thing, can be dangerous. So. Just like that, we are at the top of the hour. So unless anyone has any last minute additions, I see a hand from Catherine. And then we will and Ron. So we'll get to Catherine, we'll get to Ron, and then we will end the party.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Over to Catherine, and then we're gonna go to Ron.
Sorry, I
I just
misunderstood.
wanted to let people know, remember that it's hot out there and we've got these heat waves going, and make sure you're keeping yourself well hydrated.
Yep, and add minerals back too.
And add that lemon and get those minerals and vitamins in. Yep.
Great point. Great point.
Almond
Over to you, Ron.
salt is my favorite. I'm hooked on that because of Zach. I eat it. It's sweet. I love it.
What are you talking about?
The Malden salt.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff. I keep it everywhere. It has to be in arm's reach at any point. Otherwise, I don't know who I am. So over to you, Ron.
All right, and I'm sorry, this is a really a specific question, but I think we sort of touched on it a little bit, but not exactly. So about maybe 3 months ago, I was up in beautiful New England. I got a bunch of really nymph tick bites, and I didn't have any bullseye or any of that stuff with Lyme, but my doctor put me on prophylactically put me on doxycycline, which is a normal course. And I want to say we had it for 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. Anyway, my neighbors who've had the same exposure said to me, it seemed like it took forever for those things to heal, and they're finally getting to that point. But I don't know with this crazy.
I would look for a different test than the West Bolt test. Lyme's is something that I kind of specialize in a little bit. There's a test that looks for not only Lyme's. It's going to look for all tick-borne illness. Like when I had Lyme's twice, and um, I had at least 4 other critters that were in me from the ticks.
Would
So,
you know the name of that test by any chance?
Ron, please send me an email at support@BeatCancer. I'll get you the name of the test. I can't remember offhand. It's not covered by insurance. It's going to be around $500, but it it will show you the Lyme. See, the Westbolt test, it checks for acute and long-term Lymes. And when I was first diagnosed as not having Lyme's, it was because it was inconclusive, the test. It was saying I didn't have acute, so they ignored the long-term positive. And then finally the county got back to me and said, you got Lyme's. And that was like months and months later. And it was I already had it long terms. So it was a real problem trying to get that uh, put to rest. And doxycycline, it will not help you in the long-term Lyme situation. It's only beneficial if you do it like right away. So let me get you some information on that. I would also say you want to get in touch with what's called a Lyme's literate doctor, which other doctors will call quacks because they don't believe in long-term Lyme's. But a lot of issues are misdiagnosed and they're actually Lyme's, so like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, a lot of other things that happen, and that's usually from the other critters that are coming in as a tick-borne illness with the Lyme's disease.
So what I was going to say is, I don't personally feel. I mean, the test sounds good. Could I get that test at like a LabCorp or something like that, or is it a specialized place?
No, you have to send away for it, but you can get the LabCorp to do the vials for you to take the blood, but it's not going to be done through LabCorp.
Got it. Okay.
Or you can get your doctor to do it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, had it
Yeah.
done right in the doctor's office. But you have to get a Lyme's literate doctor, and they have a directory of Lyme's literate doctors.
Sure. Okay. Where I was kind of going with this is, it seemed like the tick bites were taking like forever and a day to heal, and apparently my neighbors have had that same issue. And then I don't know, just recently in the last few days, I've gotten like really bad welts that seem like they're from like maybe mosquito bites because I have a dog and I take him out for a walk late at night, and probably I'm guilty of getting out there without the insect protectant that I should have. But I was just wondering if that could be related at all to the diagnosis, or that probably I'm looking at two different things and trying to put them together, maybe when they have nothing to do with one another.
I don't know if they do or they don't, but I would say out of caution and prudence, get the test.
Okay. Even if you're not feeling any symptoms or anything,
Yeah, I
you would.
didn't know. I did like I said, I had long term, so it was in me for a long time before my symptoms started to really manifest. Um, I never saw a bullseye, and then ultimately what happened to me was I got a really bad spider bite. My whole ankle turned black all the way around my whole ankle. It was really bad looking. And that had caused all my symptoms to all of a sudden spring up. So it
Okay.
wasn't the spider bite, it was the Lyme's.
Okay. I will shoot you a note either later or first thing in the morning, and I
Yep.
thank you for that.
Yep, not a problem. Support at BeatCancer.org.
Okay.
Awesome. Great conversations, everybody. A nice array of different topics, as always. And as always, we wish you a very wonderful rest of your week. We look forward to seeing you next week on the call where, we hope everyone has thought of some new and interesting topics to go over. If you need anything in the meantime, do feel free to contact us at support@BeatCancer.org. Like Carl has mentioned, whether you want to refresh your mind on any of the topics that we talked about, which of course you could also do by watching the replay of this that is available on our Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and other channels all across social media. We hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful time. Any closing thoughts from Carl?
No, we're good. Thank you all for coming, and visit us at our website, BeatCancer.org.
Yep. Make sure you're on that email list. We have a lot of really cool announcements coming out more than ever, and it's only going to get better from here. So make sure you're keeping in touch to hear all about them, and we will see everyone next week.